What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Starchasers, Girls Talk Ball, Offseason Convos. As you know, it's your girl, Craven Cowboys. I got my girl, Starchaser, a.k.a. Star, in the building. How you doing, Star?
What's up, guys? Glad to see you guys in the chat tonight for another episode of Starchasers, Girls Talk Ball. Y'all know I'm Stargazer, but I just go by Star.
Yeah, Stargazer, right?
No, it's okay. But as y'all come in, please like the video. Please share the content. Please subscribe to Mickey and I's YouTube channels. I think both of us have surpassed 200 finally. So, woo! We had
yes, hey.
the clapping emoji, but yeah. So, thank you guys.
Already, like she said before, she already over 1,000 on Twitter. So, like she said, if y'all come on over to the YouTube side,
right?
Like that Dave Chappelle gift, just come on over. Just
exactly.
come on over to the YouTube side. Come on over.
If you own X right now, just go on to YouTube. Please help me like and share on that platform, guys, because once we reach 1,000, then we can start doing super chats and a lot of different stuff. So please help our channels grow. We're doing our best to put out content for you guys weekly, so that y'all can hear our voice and our thoughts. We definitely go on. We both talk on X and stuff like that. What's up, Key? Glad to see you.
How you guys doing?
YouTube is the actual platform for us content creators to actually build and actually get monetized and sponsored and stuff like that for the content that we are taking time out of our day to do. Because y'all know that we have day jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not paying the bills or anything like that. This is just something that we do because we love the Dallas Cowboys. We love our team. So if y'all would be so kind to help us, we appreciate those who have continuously donate to us. If you want to donate, you can see our Cash Apps there on the screen. But I say, let's get into it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, before we get really too deep into our main topic today, as you guys seen the thumbnail, as Mike McCarthy sat down with the press, seems like, I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually listen to the audio from Bones Fossil interview, but as you see, some of our coaches are getting some interviews, finally getting their points of view out there. Bones Fossil, with the rule change and everything. We'll just touch on some light topics that kind of came out early in this week, with the rule change of the kickoff. And of course, the hip tackle as well. Of course, actually, you're looking forward to see what Bones Fossil actually going to do, because I just hearing a really word of mouth through Talking Cowboy that said he kind of gave his perspective about being excited about being able to work with different body types, different size. Being able to not just work with speed guys, because as before it was guys really running at a high rate, really towards each other. And of course, definitely for me, this is my point of view. Just player safety is really really important, because just having family members who did play the game and just seeing what it, even as a recent what players go through just playing this game, we know that they put their body on the line. So, it's definitely just something, like I'm definitely for, getting, the hip drop tackle as well. I'm saying, like player safety definitely is high. What's your thoughts on that, Sar? What's your thoughts on these rule changes that's really been going on?
Yeah, I know that there have been some people do not like the rule changes because, let's be honest, the officials have been terrible. I'm not going to lie about that. The officials have not been good.
Right.
And so, people are concerned about the hip drop tackle because it seems like it's so basically how it's defined is like not clear enough. So it's like, are we going to have more flags? Are we going to have way more worse calls and stuff like that? But ultimately, I do think that the hip drop tackle should have been removed and banned. I do think it should have been banned. I think, obviously, it is a tackle that ends many people's season. I don't know if anybody's ever gotten hip drop tackle that's ended their career, but I know for sure, like, it sidelines you for an entire season. It happened, Tony Pollard, obviously, during the 2020 playoff game. Then it happened to Mark Andrews last year, and it sidelines.
That's how that got tackled, is it not? By I think so.
I think so. And I think so. And I think just because it may be hard to define, like, if you know something, but we all know what the hip drop tackle is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the type Aiden Hutchinson did it twice today during the Lions game, where they drop low, they put their whole weight on you, and it's kind of like they're like bending your leg because of the way they tackle you. It's like basically like they can break your leg, break your knee. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think it's something that should be banned. I agree with that. The new kickoff, I'm not really sure. I know they did say that it's for player safety. Obviously they're hoping to have way less injuries because I mean, from it seems like the two sides are going to be a lot closer,
right?
Which is going to prevent all these people running full speed, at each other, which does cause injury and stuff like hitting each other and stuff like that. And I know some people may think that it's a soft rule and stuff like that, but I put out on Twitter, I said, any rule implemented to help player safety, I'm all for. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I do know that there's other motives, like AKA fantasy football. We need people to score points. I do get that.
Right. And it also, I'm gonna make a job, but it also gets other, like you said, it gets other players opportunities on the field. Like we may even see even more uptick maybe from Turpin if he doesn't necessarily get more snaps on offense. Maybe he can kind of show out just a little bit more. Maybe even somehow get Deuce Vaughn going as well. Right. How you doing, Dwayne Brown? Very nice to see you.
What's up, Dwayne? Glad to see you. Yeah, Turpin, he posted on his story after the rule got approved, and he seems very excited about it. So I'm very excited and interested to see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm very for and into player safety. I don't think anybody's life should be ruined for the sake of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, back in the day, you could do these types of hits and you could do that. And I know Tom Brady, he loves to come out. You need to do this, learn how to protect your players. And I'm like, I get it, guys, but it's a new day. It's a new age.
Right. And just like you said, Star, it was kind of like part of, I'm not gonna say the fantasy of playing football because these guys actually experience these things, but it was kind of like just really what kind of what football was about. The tough hits, what people kind of look for in the game. They look for the tough hits. They listen for these hits. What I'm saying? That's what came to be from Mike Lip, right? So they could hear what the players were saying, so they could hear these hits in real time instead of having to wait for the replay. So that's kind of just really just the aspect of football that's kind of changed along the way. Like you said, it's kind of a new day. So they're still looking for that, that high velocity, that kind of high speed game. You know what I'm saying? But they're also looking for like player safety has also come a long way. Like with the constant I would say the constant emergence of new technology as far as helmet. How they got
the helmets, how they price up the helmets, and I'm still waiting on them to upgrade just the overall equipment. Like this is pretty much the same equipment that's been here since the 70s and 80s. Like besides the upgrading of the helmet, the players should basically be covered in like head to toe almost. Y'all seen that movie Tron? That's what I think. I'm like, they need to be wearing Tron suits because it's like this is fun. This is for entertainment. And
at this point,
and if you had those types of suits that had shock absorption, like the players are out there wearing shoulder pad, you can see their stomachs. Like some of them wear their shirts, you can literally see their bare stomachs. Like,
and even I know we talk about college, but also college as well. It looks like they're wearing even less pads. So
like they don't be wearing nothing out there. They're hitting the ground, and that's going directly to their spine. Like it's effing. I'm not gonna say it's effing the players up. You know what I'm saying? So
these young bodies come into the league in their first year, and they're facing these grown men. You know what I'm saying?
Like they're up. If you look at all the people, the Hall of Famers and stuff in Canton, them people, a lot of them can't walk. They can't because all of them hits, all of the feet. It's bad, guys. So I'm saying, like, I get it, but this is not the gladiator football days. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do need to improve player protection. And if you want to be like, if you don't want football to evolve to better protect players, like these people are putting their lives and stuff on the line, then I don't know. You may have to check out or just keep watching reruns of the good old days. But the good old days were for your entertainment, not for those people. Because some of those people are dead, got CTE, doesn't have the full functionality of their limbs. So I think if people would think about that more, then they'd understand like player safety rules. But
exactly. No, I definitely feel you, Star, and I'm glad that at least the NFL is at least acknowledging, you know, what I'm saying, even, you know, and it could be one thing if they kind of, you know, mention the rule changes and say, okay, we'll wait till next year, or we'll, you know, we think about it, or we may, you know, we may put these other things in place, but, you know, we put this on the back burner. You know, players, they're actually they're actually active in making player safety a priority of theirs. It may not be top priority in all situations, but they're on their priority list. So at least they're making an effort to at least protect their players in these situations, because as we like we just spoke about, they're just really players running at each other at a high speed during really and I think shout out to John Machota, he mentioned on their show, really during a play where most people go up and get something to drink, most people don't even watch the playoffs. So he kind of mentioned that aspect as well, you know, the entertainment aspect of, you know, they kind of want to, you know, kind of up that viewership during that time period where, you know, you have a commercial, you come back and kick off, oh, you know, you're not really worried about it. We'll wait till they actually get on the field. So now people are actually be able to see it. Just a little slightly more action. It's only one play, granted, but hey, it adds to the game and it could make a difference. I mean, we see the really the importance of a field position, you know, even with someone like we have in the backfield, such as Turpin or even Deuce once he starts getting going. So just having someone in that space could really, you know, help out a team, not just us, but any other team in the league who be looking at opportunity, trying to get their career going, even because we know everyone goes through special teams. So why not give those guys an opportunity to really get their career going in that moment?
Yep, I agree totally. So definitely on board with the new rules. Even though they may have multiple motives, you know, one of them is player safety. So that's what I'll say.
Right. Yeah, I'm with it too. And just some other news that came out this week. I'm sure you heard, Star. You know, I'm sure everyone heard. You know, what I'm saying, our young players, unfortunately, just from last year, getting their surgeries. Our first and second round pick, Schoonmaker and Mozzie Smith as well. Just like I said, before we get too deep into McCarthy's sit down, he actually mentioned those draft picks in his sit down, and just really, I'm sure he kind of gave his thoughts, but just kind of giving my thoughts a little bit. Just you know, we kind of, you know, a lot of people were disappointed, you know, just in us picking a tight end last year, and Schoonmaker, you know, he was mentioned to have those injuries in college. He was an older rookie who came in. You know, and we saw a training camp start. He was already, and there's no knock to him, but we saw him already sitting on the sideline. So him kind of getting set back in that realm, and then so missing those snaps, missing that time to be able to get, you know, be able to build cohesion with the team. You know, he was kind of set back in that aspect. So once he did get in the game, and towards the end of the year, and we were able to complement his blocking skills. You know, and that's one thing that he was able to build throughout the year. So that's, you know, that's one pro that he can take coming out of 2023, but you know, once again, you know, another setback for this young man. And Mozzie Smith as well, he had his problems throughout the season as well, you know, up and down in weight, you know, kind of getting back on the field as well, on field, you know. So just you know, really, just young players, just in my opinion, another hit we're taking, you know, as far as the Cowboys. You know, we already have holes, you know. Unfortunately, lost Hankins for what, $2 million to another team in the NFC.
Yeah, not much at all. You know what I'm saying? And his contract showed that, not to go too far off topic, but his contract showed that they did not want him. They did not want Hankins back. So it wasn't effective. Can we sign him? Like, they did not want him back for whatever reason. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want Hankins back. I'm not sure why they chose Carl Davis over Hankins. You know what I'm saying? But that's essentially what they did. They wanted to bring back one veteran nose tackle, and they chose to bring back Carl Davis. Possible motive is that he was cheaper, but I mean, he was like $900,000 cheaper.
That's what I'm like. How much cheaper? $2 million. Right.
It's like it wasn't like significantly cheaper. So, they didn't want Hankins back, and I said, I think it was this week or last week, like they're not going to bring Gilmore back in either, guys. So y'all can already bank on that. I pretty much believe that the front office for now is done as far as free agency and bringing back the guys that they want. Of course, besides, you know, Dak and CD, like the big contracts, but like those other guys, like if they haven't been signed by the team now, they're not going to be here. So like guys like Kurtz is still out there. He's likely not going to be here. Who else is out there that still hasn't been?
I think there was only 3 to 4 free agents left.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I think Kurtz, Gilly, somebody else, but Gilly's not going to be brought back, guys. So y'all can just count on him going to the Panthers or the wherever, Eagles, Commanders, whatever. But he's not going to be a Dallas Cowboy. They brought back one veteran corner, and that's Jay Lou. They chose Jay Lou.
Shout out to Tyrone Church in the building, Dwayne Brown.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Sorry, you are right, Tyrone. Thank you for that. Yeah. Because when we get into Mike McCarthy's interview, he did speak about how they're definitely not done adding to the running back room. And then there's been rumors, by Michael Gelkin, put out that Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook have interest. So we'll just continue to monitor and see how these things go. But as far as, any other big moves and stuff like that, I wouldn't really expect much more movement in free agency. I would expect movement after draft. After draft, when people do their cuts after draft and then their June 1st cuts, that's when I expect more free agency pickup for us.
Right. I definitely agree with you, Star. Like you said, as McCarthy mentioned in his presser, they're definitely not done in the running back room. He even mentioned, I don't know if it was him who mentioned it or the interviewer who asked him about a veteran running backs, and because I remember saying during watching his sit down, I'm like, what other veteran running backs? Because I didn't even know Cordell Patterson was even still available. So even seeing him go to the Steelers, I'm like, I didn't even know he was still out there. So I'm like,
there's still some running backs, Dalvin Cook, Zeke. J.K. Dobbins is a big one, which is
I forgot about Dobbins. He got hurt early.
Yeah, he got hurt early. He's unfortunately suffered, I think, 2 back-to-back Achilles injuries. So I don't even know if he can stay healthy, but everybody knows he's a great talent when he can stay healthy. So that's another name to look out for. You got guys still out there like Kareem Hunt. There's a lot of guys out there.
Okay, yeah, because he was. Yeah, they did sound like a 1 year. He went back to the Browns or something like that, wasn't it? They sounded like
last year he did, but I don't think I don't think they re-signed him this year. I don't think, but maybe they did. I don't know. But I think I got off topic because I was supposed to be commenting on Luke.
No, you good. No, you good. We were just talking about. We were just talking about the young guys, and really the run backs can be part of that. Deuce we signed last year, so we have yet to see what he can do. As far as being an impact player, I know he's not going to be starter or anything like that. Of course, we know they re-signed Rico, but we're still going to see what he has available. We still have Lipke. Saying he definitely got some groove in last season, so we're going to see how they're going to use him. So we definitely have some guys, and he mentioned that too. Just to get into it.
Yeah, Mike definitely. Talking about. Let me comment on the injuries. Yeah, I think for Luke. Now, Luke just got his surgery, so Luke is likely going to miss all of training camp once again because it's probably supposed to be like a 4 to 6 month recovery.
Yeah.
So, Luke, I don't know, man, and Luke is already old. I think, at this point, he was injury prone before. He missed last camp. He struggled to get acclimated because he missed camp, and now he's about to miss camp again. So, definitely would love to know. No one's ever going to claim Luke. They'll claim everybody else as far as who picked him, but
he's going to end up being like, and his no disrespect, was going to be like well, let's go like a Josh Ball, where a guy that he maybe stay sitting on our roster.
Somebody like a Jarwin, you know what I'm saying? Where they've got some talent, but they're just hurt. They're hurt guy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about Luke. He's just going to be hurt guy. And that's why I want us this year to not pick a hurt guy for our second round pick. Can we stop picking hurt guys and the guys with extreme high upside but off the field issues? I would like to stop because it has not really led us to anything great. You know what I'm saying? Like when we picked a formidable second round pick and Trayvon Diggs in 2020, look how great he was for us. Let's just pick a good, solid, proven, non-injured, no off-field issues because, that's a really high round pick. And
it's definitely been an Achilles heel for us.
Yeah.
Second round picks, or like you said, guys with off-the-field issues, it continues to bite us in the tail.
Right. It's like, instead of picking the Jalen Smiths of the world and the Luke Schoolmakers and the Kelvin Josephs and the I'll reserve my comments, I guess, on Sam Williams because y'all said I'm too hard on him. So hopefully, he comes out and he proves me wrong. But let's stop picking these guys, and let's pick somebody like Trayvon Diggs. Let's pick somebody like Connor Williams, even though people hate Connor Williams. But Connor Williams was a starter, and he was played out of position pretty much his entire time he was in Dallas. Like, the guy was a tackle center. He was never a guard, but we forced him into guard because for some reason that Dallas Cowboys coaching staff always likes to turn players into something that they are not and wasting their careers and then letting them go to another team and then they play in their real position and then all of a sudden, oh my God, they're so good. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I hope we deviate from that. And as far as Mozzie, I think they said he got his surgery like right after the season ended. So I do think Mozzie will be ready by training camp, hopefully. But, it's just another thing because now he's got a rehab and
I was going to say, because now it makes a little bit more sense because I was watching, shout out to Boss Cowboy, Law Nation, shout out to Final Word last night, Jay Tuck, because I just learned, I thought he just got his surgery just now too, but I'm just learning from you just now that he got surgery right after the season ended. That's I'm going to say that's good news, but because I think you mentioned he did.
No, it's good. No, it's good news for sure because obviously, Mozzie is a guy that Steven, Jerry, and Mike have said, they're expecting him to take a huge leap. So I don't know if that's wise to put a lot of pressure on Mozzie because obviously Mozzie had a lot of pressure. It was a lot of changes that he had to go through. He lost a lot of weight. So now he's got to put that weight back on. He's got to rehab. Hopefully he's been rehabbing. And then on top of that, take a jump. You worked on your technique and stuff like that. So it's a lot of dependence. I do think that they're definitely going to bring in some veteran big D tackles because Steven and Mike have said multiple times Zimmer likes big guys. That's his scheme. He wants big guys. He wants big guys in the middle. He wants what Mike McCarthy said in his presser, which we can go to that, but Mike McCarthy said in his presser, like, it can't just be focused on, he said it cannot just be focused on getting after the passer. Like, we've got to focus on being able to stop the run. That, if anybody knows, it's been our Achilles heel for I don't know how long in the playoffs of not being able to stop the run. And the only time in recent history that we did stop the run was in the 2022 playoffs. But other than that, we can't stop the run in playoffs, and we can't really run the ball in playoffs. And those are both two things that you need in order to win playoff games. And so as we move on here to talk about like Mike McCarthy, he talks a lot about these players making the second-year jump. And I think it really was confirmed this week that the Cowboys aren't tanking. They're not tanking, or some consider it a rebuild. I think what they're doing, if you listen to Steven, you listen to Mike McCarthy, they are betting the house on the young guys. That's what they're doing. So they mentioned guys like Wanye, Villani Fehoko, Austin Richards. Like, they're mentioning all of these guys. So Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, as we talk about building the O-line, right?
Yeah. He spoke about he didn't speak too much on Beyonce leaving, but he spoke about Brock Hoffman and just really the bond that those two guys really built. So just really speaking about just the progression of Brock Hoffman, really being able to step into that role of being able to can he be that guy? We saw him late in the season last year. We also saw him early. I'm not sure. Did we see him in the Arizona game? When we had we did see him kind of early and we did see him late. So just kind of seeing his progression, seeing his toughness. I mean, even seeing him in the Washington game, I think it was like the goal line play where he just kind of ran through that guy. You want to see that.
He's very exactly. I like Brock Hoffman. Now, how can he play 17 games? That's yet to be
right.
That's yet to be determined. But
and but we spoke about that last year. We spoke about these guys having the opportunities to be able, and when they did have to step up into the role for the stars who were out. But like you just mentioned, can these guys start for all games of the season? Can they be able to fill that role? And McCarthy spoke about that as well. About and I love the question.
Jumping snaps. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. He says, like, what's a starter? I like the McCarthy kind of brought it and kind of posed a question to the press saying, hey, like, you lose guys year to year, so these guys continuously have to step up to these roles, and like we talked about Star, like these young guys be able to have the mindset and be able to have the will to be able to play these roles. And he also talked about how CD and Micah talked about CD and Micah talking about on the podcast, but he mentioned CD talking about step into the role of leadership and how he be able to improve his game and be able to start leading the team in more of a leadership role. We kind of talk about how CD kind of has some knocks to him during the season by having the body language or kind of being off to himself. Unfortunately, we saw early in the season, but hopefully he can be able to step into that role, work even more closely with McCarthy, working more closely with Dak. And McCarthy mentioned that as well. It's important for them to have that relationship. So I mean, I'm sure we already know the deal's going to get done, but whether it gets done or not, it's going to be important. He spoke about Dak and CD having, and how important it is for them to have, being one of the most, being one of the most best duos in the league, of having that partnership together. So it's going to be very important to be able to work together.
Yep, absolutely. He talks about how CD and Dak are stepping into that realm of those dynamic historical quarterback wide receiver duos that you talk about in league history, and they're stepping into that, and he's 100% right. And the thing is with the Dallas Cowboys, like, our young players, they don't get really playing time unless there's injury, right? We only saw Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass last year because there was injury. So this year, what they're doing this year is removing those veteran guys that were ahead of them.
Right.
And they're really counting on Sam Williams. I don't know if Sam Williams left the focus, but I hope he is, because they are counting big on Sam Williams. They've said it multiple times. Mike McCarthy said it yesterday. Stephen Jones said it. Jerry Jones said it. They are counting on Sam Williams to take a step. They said, so when you let a Dorrance Armstrong go, you let Dante Fowler, you're expecting guys like who? Sam Williams. You're expecting Junior Fihoko. Like, they are counting on the guys that they drafted to get on the field. So this may be the year you see Izzy McCwamu. This is the year you see Wanye Thomas. Right. All of those, especially all of the guys who we barely saw last year that were pretty much red-shirted, they're going to be on the field this year. What they said, they're going to give them, what they said, every opportunity. Mike said he expects for the running back, for the offensive line. Like, you're going to have, for the defensive line, you're going to have every opportunity to get playing time, to get serious playing time. So this is what they're doing. They're saying, you know what? Let's get rid of these veterans. Let's basically cut off the fat.
Right.
Cut off the fat, and let's let these young guys cook. Now, some guys may not be on board with that, because they're like, okay, we letting the young guys cook, but they don't have the experience. But I will have to say, hey, look, and I know we're not the Chiefs, and I know we're not the Green Bay Packers, but those were when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in 2022, they're pretty much their entire secondary was rookies on defense. Right. When you look at the Green Bay Packers' youngest playoff team, they were the youngest team in the playoffs, and they almost knocked off the second and the 1 seed. Right. So it doesn't mean the young guys can't do it. It's all about how these guys are coached and how they're put in the proper position. And
Exactly.
And shout out to Dwayne Brown. I saw your I'm about to say super chat, but I saw your donation. Thank you so much for donating. I appreciate you, Dwayne, so much. But let me just say this one last point. Like, dang, I forgot my train of thought. But
you were talking about players being put in the correct position.
Oh, yeah. So Jerry, because people took Jerry's comments, and I'm not here caping for Jerry. I'm just saying this is what it is. People took Jerry's comments when he said win with less out of context, because The context of what he said was because basically they were asking him, like, do you think like y'all needed more to win against Green Bay? And he said, no, not necessarily. He said, I think we've been in a position where we've won with less. He ain't lying. We did more in 2022 with less talent.
Right.
Than we did in 2023 with 9 All-Pros.
Right.
So
exactly.
He's not lying. He said, I think it's more about the coaches. I think it's more about the coaches putting these players in the right position to be more effective. And so the fact that Jerry said that, I was baffled because that's something that the content creators have been screaming. Like, it's not the fact that we don't have talent. We can't say we don't have talent when you got 9 All-Pros. The problem is that our players are constantly being played out of position. Then you have favoritism, like Dwayne Brown said, and nepotism, and the front office has their hand in it because they also be saying, "I need him to play because he's getting money." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Jerry pumped it because you be interfering, but at the same time, when the rubber meets the road, especially like in playoffs, I don't think Jerry or Steven care who played what. They wanted to win.
Okay, exactly.
So
exactly, and I'm glad you made that point, Star, because even Mike McCarthy pointed out in the sit down, he was even critical of himself and the coaching staff about putting the players in certain positions and making these decisions in game and making, and we were critical, Cowboys fans and just in general, and content creators as a whole were critical of some of the decisions that McCarthy was making throughout the season. So just seeing that we also saw him take accountability as well, and even taking suggestions from the players on the sideline, taking what they, Brandon Cook spoke about it, CD spoke about it when they were involving him in the game. So he's not immune to listening to his players. He's not immune to making changes. So now even he mentioned, I forget the reporter who asked him at this moment, but he asked, I think it was Nick Harris, shout out to him. He asked him about still, even though you're, just meeting with Mike Zimmer, trying to get all of that, situated, how is it going into your second year being a play caller? And even he says, hey, I do that on the weekends. Like, it's still a process. He still has to, it's new terminology, and now it's even more new terminology with Zimmer.
Right, because
Zimmer coming in and then having to communicate, and then Zimmer having to communicate with the players. So that's another thing. We talk about the wave it's going to make amongst the players, but it's also going to make waves amongst the coaching staff, because we know some of them left. We have new ones coming on, and really just Mike and Zimmer kind of getting on the same page at the same time of having to build up the team. It's we're definitely we have the right to be critical of what's been going on in the offseason, what's been happening, but we have to, like Jerry continuously says and likes to say, McCarthy is still going to be the busiest man in Dallas, having to handle all of this, going into a shot big game James year.
Exactly, it's a lot going on, and Mike did say that. He said our offensive staff has to take a second year jump because there was places that they were lacking, and it's because they were in a first year offense. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely going to be a second year jump for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's really going to take the coaching staff to get these players to buy in on this quote unquote lame duck year. Get them to buy in by putting them in the right positions, giving them the opportunity for the playing time. Because, see, these young players, and I think this just came to me, but a reason to go with young players over those vets is because young players haven't played. They haven't had the opportunity. So they're hungry. They're hungry for this. You know what I'm saying? Mike McCarthy, because, people keep asking Mike, like, you on a lame duck year, and are you worried about it? Is it more? It's more difficult. And he said, no, it's not more difficult for me. He said, I've been in this position 3 times. This is the third time I'm in it. He was like, I've betted on myself before. I continue to bet on myself. But he said, like, y'all are seeing something that he said is look at. He said, y'all are seeing all of this drama and all this media stuff, lame duck year, regression. Like Prescott, is he getting signed or not signed? What team should Dak Prescott go to 2000? Like, we're seeing all the chaos. But he was like, what we see as coaches is when we go in there, we seeing Fergie in the weight room lifting. We seeing these young players training. Like, the young players are ready and they're hungry. They're ready to get on the feel because they're like, wow, we really finally getting a chance to play.
Exactly.
So I do.
I don't know if you heard him. I'm sure you heard him mention Star. He said what 10 out of the 11 years he was in Green Bay. This is how they built their team with their guys from within. So and like you mentioned, like I know, and we all know McCarthy is in his career, and he mentioned that being more worried about the younger coaches, trying to get on their own path. Because he's not like you said, he's definitely seasoned his career, so he's not saying he's not worried about it.
Like I'm not worried about it. Like he said exactly. He said I'm more worried about the young coaches because it's like they are a little bit like this is your you don't know you're just getting your feet wet. But he's like I know who I am. Like he was like you don't make it in this business without having an ego. Like I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. So he's like I'm not worried about it. You know what I'm saying? And so. I don't know, guys. Like, we'll have to see how this goes. But can I say that I hate this idea? I don't really hate it because I do think the young guys that we drafted, like, how are we going to be a draft and develop team if we never allow our draft picks to really play? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we going to be that? If their spots are constantly masked by veterans which Steven said, he said, these veterans are ahead of them and they're like slightly ahead of them. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, instead of having a slightly better veteran who's pretty much maxed out, like this is what he is, why not allow a younger player to play because they have a higher upside? And pretty much a lot of these guys, they just need more reps. You can't.
Thank you. Because it just really, for me, it just speaks to the I want to say, it speaks to the mismanagement of sometimes what the Cowboys do. Like, they mismanage their bets and they mismanage their young guys. Like, the young guys don't get a chance because, like you said, and that was really the perfect phrase, like, they max out their veterans until they can't use them anymore. So at the same time, the veterans they're not getting their championship. They're not getting, a successful year. They get bounced out the first year of the playoff, and then they don't have a chance to go, we don't want to see it happen, but they don't get a chance to go play somewhere else and possibly get a championship because they're quote unquote, they're maxed up. But then at the same time, the young players don't get a chance until those, I want to say life or death, until the last minute, until they're given an ultimatum, like, okay, young guy or a vet who you can't really get much out of anymore. So
right.
You're really
exactly. It's like when you look at who went in the free agency, it's pretty much all of our guys that are just like slightly better than the young guys, or the old vets like Tyron Smith, where it's like he's probably got a year to two left in the league and he's
what I'm saying?
Done. So it's like, why would we keep Tyron here when you got a young 22, 23-year-old and Austin Richards that needs to cook? You're probably going to draft a tackle or a guard that needs to cook. But it's like, the more you have these veterans here, these guys can't play. That's why I think the Boss Cowboy, but he's the progress stoppers. Like, how the young guys how is Izzy McQuamu and Wanye Thomas going to get on the field when all the snaps is taken up by J-Ron? You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I agree, Swain. It's like, at some point, like, we gotta let the young guys play.
Right, and isn't that a quote that we see? I don't want to say time to time, but we saw that with Zeke. We see it with Tyron. I think we may have seen. I think DeMarcus Ware got here just in time. Of course, we see him get a ring the very next year. We see what. I'm not saying he was a great, but Lyle Collins, he went out to be able to have another 1 or 2 years with the Bengals. We see him losing. Play something. We see him. I know it was 1 year, but I know we kind of hate on him a little bit. But what's his name? I almost said Schoonmaker. Schultz. Even him going to Texas. We see even Noah Brown kind of getting slight research in his career. So this seems like just really. I don't want to say the narrative right now, but we see a lot of other players going to other organizations. I mean, hell, even seeing Will Greer. And that kind of hurt my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Will Greer going to Philly? I'm like, why? At this point, I'm like, why? Like, okay, now you're just doing it to be, we talk about off camera, like just to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
It's basically what it is. Like, I don't know, but it whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I think that like obviously what we're doing is unconventional, is not typical. Because we've been this draft and develop team. But as Mickey just said, like, look at how many young guys we develop and just let pretty much walk, or they don't develop, and then we let them walk out, and then they are playing for teams that are in the Super Bowl or in the championship game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You never really gave these guys a chance because you had a old ass veteran in the room and you didn't want them to play. So that means, so it's like, I do think this is the era of the young guys. Basically, this is the era of the young guys. We'll see how the young guys could be trash or they could be very good. We don't know, but we're going to have to see how we progress. And I had put on my Twitter or X account that a great quote that Mike McCarthy said about, and I said this is kind of like shots fired at Dan Quinn. But when you look at it, let me see if I have that tweet. I can pull it up real fast.
All right, cool. Yeah, if I should look it up, Chris 214, welcome in the building. How you doing, fam? Definitely good to see you. Like some of my faves in the building, Dwayne Brown.
Glad to see you. Glad to see you.
Swain said, how you get drafted as a vet? Hey, stop playing, man. Look, I know Schoolmaker a little up there.
Who we talk about, Schoolmaker?
Yeah. You know, Swain is always fooling around.
Yeah, Mrs. Yeah, he's old as hell. I was like, I don't know. Still, like, whose pick was that? Whose pick was that? Jerry, you always want to claim. Is you, Jerry?
Okay.
That was just a disaster of pick. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was caping for the pick last year because I was like he's a really good blocker. But it's like that was a second round pick. You don't get the blocking tight end as a second round pick. You get them like fifth.
Right. At this point, you might as well jump for Kincaid. I mean, he went the pick before. You might as well got him.
Like you should have jumped or just pick Laporta or whatever, because we had the opportunity to pick those guys in the first. You know, or if you really want to move up, but just
if you want to tight end that bad, man.
Schoolmaker was just a miss. It was a miss.
Right.
I can't say it was a miss, but it's looking like it was a miss. But
yes,
when Mike talked about a complementary football team, he said he said the defense is the thermostat of your football team.
Yep.
The offense and defense need to complement each other. The defense should always have the ability to keep you in the game. The offense needs to go win the game. Right. That is critical in playoff football. And so, because he had said this quote because he was asked by like Clarence Hill, like, you know, how's Dak doing? You know, what's your evaluation? He's going to the second year in the offense and all of this stuff. And like, do you see Dak as a guy that can get it done and get the team over the hump? But Mike was basically like, listen, Dak has progressed, had an amazing year last year. But at the end of the day, in order to win football games in the playoffs, your defense has to be able to keep you in the game. That's the only way you're going to win.
Right.
Like, they have to be able to keep you in the game. Because if you think in the playoffs that you're just going to be marching up and down the field and lighting up the scoreboard, like, that's likely not going to happen because you're playing the best defenses in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of...
Right, that's an excellent point. I mean, and many people were able to actually point out the difference between the defenses that were the top four defenses that were left before in the playoff round. We were lacking in so many areas. Linebackers, the front four was not like you mentioned earlier. Star with Zimmer's philosophy coming up this year. Big guys up front.
Every time we had no big guys, we only had Hankins.
Right, exactly.
You're missing.
I couldn't say how many times the announcers were saying that our guys were undersized. Like,
it's like you're missing linebackers. You're missing safeties that could cover. Our defense was just missing so much that day, and it's like all of our flaws got exposed. And it's like, regardless of what the Green Bay Packers defense was rated in season, they were playing their tails off in the playoffs.
Right.
Like, regardless, like they didn't just shut, quote unquote, our offense down, which we put up 35 points on them.
Right.
And no, it was not all garbage time stats. Like, they were pretty much in their base. They were in their defense until like late in the fourth. So we put up 35 points on them. I think the 49ers only put up like 27 or something like that. So it's definitely, or maybe it's like 31 or something, but the playoffs is it's a certain formula, right? Like in order to win, you need a certain formula, and the formula is complementary football. You need complementary football. And so many times in the big games, guys, like we weren't a complementary football team. Now in the smaller game, we blowing teams out. Yeah, that's real complimentary, right? It's like, oh, you get a takeaway, I go score. You get a takeaway, I go score, right? But in the big games, when the offense couldn't move the ball, which is normal in a big game, it is normal for your offense not to just be able to freely just move up and down the field.
Right.
The defense could not get stopped. Like they just will keep putting up, allowing more points. And so, because Mike was like, hey, there's some games where your offense can't be expected to light up. That's what I'm saying. You can't be expected. He said some games, like, your offense needs to just be able to score 17. Right. Clearly, look at the Chiefs game versus the Ravens. Like, sometimes you just need to score 17 points, 14 points.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you got to be able to come out to the game with force as well, because how many times were we knocked back where we had the opposing team scoring on the first drive? You know, how many times did you see the Cowboys not be able to come from behind? That was one thing that they seemed to struggle with in really game in and game out, not game in and game out, but in games that they were losing, like they just seemed to be able to not get over that hump to where they couldn't even 0-7. You know, we seeing Green Bay score first, I'm sure took a lot of our breaths away. Like, okay,
yeah, it basically made Mike McCarthy and Dak throw out the game plan, because the game plan was going to be to probably run the ball, do control, time of possession. But when you're seeing your defense, every time the opposing team is on the field is a touchdown.
Exactly.
You do that because you running the clock, you running the ball, you running the clock out on yourself. So it's like, okay, you go ahead and run the ball, but
exactly.
As soon as your defense gets back on the field, we're gonna score again. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we were not able to get control of that game because of our thermostat was broken, aka our defense. It doesn't matter about the turnovers because there were several quarterbacks, including Patrick Mahomes, that threw interceptions in the playoffs. So it has nothing to do with Dak's turnover. That's why we couldn't win. No, it's not. Because quarterbacks turn the ball over. Hall of Famers have turned the ball over multiple times and thrown pick sixes in playoff games, and they still won. Why? Because they had a defense and they had a running game. Like your quarterback, and Mike talked about this too. He was like, the game has changed. So these teams, he said, almost every defense now is disguised. It puts way more pressure on your quarterback. And so he was saying that there's nuances they got to put in the offense because, yes, guys, there were some things like when we played the Dolphins, when you're playing, the top level teams, they're disguising, playing the 49ers and stuff. They're disguising defenses and stuff like that.
Exactly. He actually mentioned that as an extra aspect for Dak to step up. He mentioned that he likes Dak being efficient outside the pocket. It's not just being about a pocket passer. He wants the Dak to not necessarily all the time, but to be on the run, to be able to use his legs as another aspect of the game.
Right, because when you don't have that, that's what defenses want. They want to confuse the quarterback, get the quarterback to hold the ball longer, right? Because they're having him read something pre-snap, then they change the picture post-snap, makes your quarterback hold the ball longer, which can result in sacks, right? Obviously. Yep. So this is why he's like, you got to have a quarterback that's global. You got to have the scramble drill and all that type of stuff. He's like, you're going to do the scramble drill like 6 to 7 times a game because of the way these defenses, and then the defenses are faster. Like, it's so much that goes into games, and especially playoff games, that people don't see. They just see, Dak threw a pick. Okay, well, why did he throw a pick?
Exactly.
But nobody wants to look at that. They just want to say, Dak sucks. He's ass because he threw a pick. Because people want to talk about the second pick that Dak threw in the playoff game. Like, he literally did his pre-snap read. It looked like they were in man coverage. They were really in a zone coverage. Dak threw the ball straight into the zone when he thought he was going to follow Brandon Cooks, and then it was a pick six. Like, it's simple shit like that. It doesn't mean your quarterback sucks. It just means that the defense literally disguised the coverage and confused him. And that's what they do, especially when you have a quarterback like Dak, who he's a high-level quarterback. So he changes the play. He's doing this. He's doing all these protections and all that stuff. They're doing that stuff because they know, oh, we're going to confuse them and we're going to get them. And they did get him. They got him. The first pick, I went back and watched that. I said, wow, that was just straight up pass interference. What?
Right.
Whatever. Like, what's his name? He really pulled Brandon Cooks like off the rack. But
right.
He said Cooks ran a sorry ass route. I mean, he ran a sorry route, Swain, but he was also held by what's that guy's name? He was also held. I can't think of his name, but
I'm there. How you doing?
He was definitely also Jair Alexander. He was held bad.
Yeah.
He was held bad. So, but anyways, like, you know, it's Mickey and I, we just want to do a quick show for y'all. But, you know, as we come to a close, you know, I think that it's going to take a lot for our team to win it all this year.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to take a lot. I'm going to be real honest with you. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot from the players. It's going to take a lot from the coaches. Because the way that the front office is moving, they are back on their bullshit. And when I say back on their bullshit, that means they're back to sully and denigrating people in the media. We didn't even talk about that, but I got to go. But, you know, got Jory Epstein carrying water. I'm like, not you, Jory. I love you, Jory. I love Jory Epstein. Like, I love reading her articles, everything. But they leaking sources to Jory saying Micah Parsons, he's just an average player when it matters, you know?
Right.
CD next. CD's going to be next. They doing these hit pieces. And it's all because of what? They want to win the contract, guys. That's all it is. They want to win the contract. So they're negotiating.
Exactly. Yeah, just like Star said before we get out of here, like I mentioned earlier, that's really just disappointing at this time of the year. At this time of year, and just trying to look forward to being positive. Like, it's not just the mismanagement of the vets and the players, but just mismanagement in general. Like Star just mentioned, like trying to win the contract battle in off season is irrelevant at this point. You know, the guys are just trying to get signed. They're just trying to get ready for the next year. So they're going to do their part by being like Star mentioned earlier, being in the weight room, you know, training, getting together, training with other guys in off season, preparing in their way. The front office need to be prepared as well. They need to get these contracts done, talk to these players, to get with these coaches, create a plan for this plan going forward. Like Jerry wants to say that they're all in on this year, quote unquote. Okay, well, do your part and start, communicating with your coaches and also with your players about what you want them to do. Stop doing this, throwing rocks and hiding your hand thing. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to speak weird things in the media. Just talk to your team. If you want to talk to them, if you're mad about how they perform, then tell them that and tell them what's your plan. You know what I'm saying? You're the owner, you're the GM, you want to be both. Okay, then explain your plan of what you want rolling. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can be on the same page. I'm just me personally, I'm just tired of the front office being on one page, coaches being on one page, players being on a whole other page, but they don't know what other page to be on because it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's exhausting, and it's really hard to focus in, Dallas. It's really hard because there's a game that's being played outside of football, and that's the media game.
Exactly.
Everything is about media and headlines. Jerry Jones said it himself. He said, listen, I don't care if it's bad press or good press. It's all, as long as we're getting talked about, that's all I care about. So that's what they're doing. That's why this Dak contract haven't been signed, because Jerry's like, listen, we need to play the media game all summer long. We need to drag these narratives out because we need to be relevant. We need to be talked about over, the NBA. Somebody pointed out to me on Twitter. They like, yeah, it's because the NBA championship and all this stuff is going on. And the NBA playoffs and stuff is about to start. March Madness and all that stuff. So it's like, Jerry he's got to have a reason for people to keep talking about it. And what better way to use Dak's contract? So that's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's going to allow it. So they're going to keep putting out smoke signals. We're not going to sign that. Just kidding. We do want to sign that. We're not going to sign that. Just kidding. We will sign that.
Right. It's going to be done by August. Oh, we still got time. Oh, we're going to do it 2025. Oh, we're going to do it.
We could do it 2025. You notice how they weren't writing no articles about how it will be better to sign Dak in 2025. Now with articles, John Machota writes an article about why it could be better to sign Dak in 20. This crazy shit like that. It's like, dog, be for real. They can try to sign Dak in 2025, but they don't sign Dak this offseason, he's gone.
Right.
Like, so
period.
All of this stuff they putting out, it's just a lot of it's an overloading of information to the fans to get the fans in a frenzy so that we can continue to click on their articles and give them money and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a media game. And that's what it is.
Yep.
So,
yeah, like Star said, hopefully, like I said, like, at this point, like let's just go ahead and skip to August at this point, because like I just don't want to see everyday stories of every day of, oh, that contract doesn't get done again. Like even that's not the only storyline out there. But like Star said, it's just the off season. They don't have anything else to talk about. They don't have anything else to do. I'm saying, so they're going to use that as their driving point to be able to get this attention. So hopefully we'll see some new news, by next week. You know what I'm saying? We're catching. It's gonna be old news, you know what I'm saying? But thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody popping in the chat all of a sudden. David, what's up, guys? How you doing, fam?
David, glad to see you.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for your time this evening. Mm-hmm. About to get up out of here. Thanks for joining us. Before you get out of here, as Star mentioned earlier, hit us up on Twitter. Come on over to the YouTube side. Give us a like. Give us a retweet. Give us a share. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get our voices out there. Like you said, we both passed 200 subscribers, and we're trying to get to the 300. You know, that's our next milestone. We're trying to
go.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for your time. We're gonna get out you guys' hair. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of you guys this evening. We'll catch you guys next week. See you later.